Picture this. You just found the absolute perfect used car, the price is totally right, and you're ready to hand over a stack of cash to the seller. But hold on a second. Do you actually know how to make that car legally yours here in Georgia? If you miss just one single signature, or, ignore an obscure local county rule, your exciting new ride could turn into an absolute bureaucratic nightmare. Welcome to this explainer on the Georgia Car Title Transfer Guide.
Seriously, imagine handing over thousands of your hard-earned dollars, only to realize the seller gave you a title with a blank signature. We call that an open title. And would you believe me if I told you that accepting a title without your name filled in right away is literally a misdemeanor in the state of Georgia? Yeah, no joke. Within the first 10 seconds of buying a car, you could actually be breaking the law. That's exactly why we're here today. We're going to make sure you navigate this whole system flawlessly. Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll be hitting 1. The private sale challenge. 2. Preparation and verification. 3. Mastering the paperwork. 4. Understanding Georgia vehicle taxes. And finally, 5. Finalizing at the tag office. Let's get right into it. All right, Section 1. The private sale challenge. Avoiding legal limbo. So in a private sale, the burden of getting everything right is entirely on your shoulders. And that brings us to the massive danger of title jumping. See, if the seller signs the back of the title but leaves your name, the buyer's name, blank, they've just created an open title. By law, specifically OCGA Section 43-91C, delivering or accepting a title signed in blank is a flat-out misdemeanor offense. Do this, and you could face up to a $100 fine, 30 days in jail, or both. The state does this to prevent tax evasion and fraud. So, golden rule number 1 here, never ever accept a blank title.
Moving right along to Section 2. Preparation and verification. Before you meet the seller.
A lot of folks just show up with a pocket full of cash, but the prep phase is where you really protect yourself from accidentally buying a stolen or legally frozen car. Following 3 simple steps ensures the vehicle is actually ready to be transferred. First up, you absolutely need to run a vehicle history report through a system like NMVTIS. That stands for the National Motor Vehicle Title Information System. You're checking to verify that the VIN, the vehicle identification number, matches the paperwork exactly. You also got to check for active liens. If a bank still holds a security interest on that car, well, the seller literally cannot transfer the title to you until that lien is paid off and officially released. Next, we got to talk about emissions, because Georgia has some very geographically specific rules. If you, as the buyer, are planning to register this car in one of 13 specific metro Atlanta counties, think places like Gwinnett, Fulton, Cobb, or DeKalb, you have to make sure the vehicle has a valid emissions inspection on file with the Georgia Clean Air Force. Actually, the seller is required by law to provide a valid passing certificate right at the time of sale if the car is registered in this area. But hey, if you live outside those 13 counties, you don't even need to worry about emissions testing.
Now, there are exceptions. For a really great specific example, let's look at the car's age. Antique and collector vehicles that are 25 or more model years old, they are completely exempt from this testing requirement. So let's say you're buying a 2001 Toyota Corolla sitting in a driveway up in Beaufort today. You do not need to get an emissions test done before sealing the deal, even if you're registering it right in the heart of Gwinnett County. Oh, and just so you know, diesel vehicles, heavy trucks over 8,500 pounds, and brand new vehicles are also totally exempt.
All right, Section 3. Mastering the paperwork, the kitchen table transaction.
Okay, picture this. You're sitting at the seller's kitchen table. The absolutely crucial point here is that you and the seller must fill out a Form T7 Bill of Sale. This is the official Georgia Department of Revenue document. It's basically your legal proof of the transfer. It records the exact purchase price, which, as we'll see in a minute, is super important for your taxes later, and it legally records the odometer reading, which is required by both state and federal law. Both you and the seller have to sign this thing. Then there's the actual certificate of title itself. When the seller signs over the back of the original title, they have to follow some incredibly strict rules to the letter. We're talking blue or black ink only. The buyer's full legal name has to be written exactly as it appears on their driver's license. You've got to log the exact purchase date and the precise odometer reading. And please, pay close attention to this one. 0 erasures, no whiteout, no scribbles, no alterations allowed whatsoever. A single crossed-out mistake can literally invalidate the entire document. If that happens, you're stuck trying to track down the seller weeks later to apply for a whole replacement title. Not fun. Let's move into the money. Section 4. Understanding Georgia Vehicle Taxes, the TAVT system. So Georgia taxes your vehicle purchase quite a bit differently than a lot of other states. You don't pay a traditional sales tax on a private vehicle purchase here. Instead, you pay what's called the TAVT, the Title Ad Valorem tax. It's a one-time 7% tax. But here is the major catch. It's not necessarily based on the stack of cash you just handed the seller. Nope. It's based on the vehicle's fair market value, or clean retail value, as established by the state's assessment manual. This tax is collected right at your local county tag office when you go to apply for the title.
Now, this system actually replaced the dreaded annual birthday tax. In the old days here in Georgia, you had to pay a pretty hefty ad valorem tax every single year right around your birthday just to renew your tag. Talk about a bad present, right? But now, under the current system, once you pay this 7% TAVT at the time of transfer, you are entirely exempt from those ongoing yearly taxes. Moving forward, you'll only owe your standard $20 annual registration renewal fee. So yeah, it's a larger upfront cost, but honestly, it saves you thousands of dollars over the lifetime of owning that car.
And that brings us to Section 5, finalizing at the tag office, the victory lap.
All right, you've got the car, you've got the pristine signed title, and you've got the bill of sale. But listen up, the clock is officially ticking. For a private, casual sale, you have a very strict window of exactly 7 days from the purchase date to register the vehicle. Do not confuse this with the 30-day window given to new state residents or people who buy from dealerships. You have just 7 business days to bind a new Georgia auto liability policy, which your insurance company actually has to upload to the state database, and then get yourself down to the tag office.
Now you might be wondering, can't I just do this online or through the mail? Let's bust a major myth right now. Despite what you might read on some random internet forum, Georgia administrative policy strictly prohibits remote title transfers for casual private sales. You can't mail it in, and there's no fancy digital portal for it. Why? Because the state needs to verify those wet ink signatures and physically cross-reference your ID and documents to prevent fraud. So you, or an authorized representative with a notarized power of attorney, must physically show up in person. To make absolutely sure you aren't turned away at the clerk's window after waiting in a long line, you're going to want to bring this exact checklist of documents. Ready? You need a completed Form MV1 title and tag application. You need your Form T7 bill of sale, the original signed title with absolutely no alterations, your emissions certificate if your county requires it, a valid Georgia driver's license reflecting your current address, proof of insurance, usually a 30-day binder, and finally your payment for the $18 title fee, the $20 license plate fee, and your 7% TAVD. Oh, and remember, you must visit the tag office in the county where you, the buyer, reside, not the county where the seller lives.
Real quick, please take a moment to look over this disclaimer. The info in this explainer is based on current Georgia laws and practices. But as we all know, bureaucratic rules, tax percentages, and local county procedures can always evolve. Verifying directly with your local county tax commissioner's office or just consulting a legal professional is always going to be your safest bet before finalizing any major transaction.
So, there you have it. You now possess the complete step-by-step roadmap to mastering the Georgia title transfer process. By thoroughly checking the VIN, handling that Form T7 carefully, paying your TAVT, and getting yourself to the tag office within that strict 7-day window, you're empowering yourself to avoid the legal pitfalls and hit the road with absolute confidence. But it does make you wonder, as cars become fully digital and connected in almost every other way, how much longer are we going to rely on wet ink signatures and physical trips to the tag office just to prove we own them? Until the system changes, you've got the roadmap you need. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy driving!